Well, oh boy, that's a terrible glare. Sorry about that. Well, my lighting in here is terrible today. Let's try a couple of different lighting things. Does that look any better? Does that work any better? That, how's that working? Well, anyway, let me just say this. Let's try this little light here. And sorry, I probably should adjust all this before we go into this, but this will probably not be as long of a video this week because I have to tell you, I am, frankly, I am exhausted mentally. As you know now, by the time you see this, you've probably gotten home and you've probably watched the news on television. You've probably heard it on the radio. You've probably read about it. You've been online. You've been all those things. And you realize what the big news is today. And what I want to do is, again, this series is, my life as your state representative and what it's like to be in this building. I cannot describe, sorry, this light is killing me. I cannot describe to you, I don't have the words to describe to you what it's been like to be in this building for the last 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The good news is I was not in the building for half the day today. Let me tell you, first of all, what happened today. Pretty cool thing that I was able to be a part of. My next door neighbor, right next door to me here, is Representative Brad Witt, and he put together a field trip to a logging company down in the Philomath area. Actually, it was a bit west of Philomath, out towards the coast, and they own quite a bit of timberland out there. And there's been a controversy about spraying these herbicides on some of these lands, and it may be potentially going over into groundwater or streams or other places. Anyway, so the point is they took us out there, and we actually, to make a long story short, there's quite a group of us went out there, and we were out in the forest. I mean, look, I got the mud on my boots to prove it right here. Anyway, they took us out into the forest, and we walked out in the trees, and then they actually brought in the helicopter, and he did his thing and sprayed an area. And it was amazing how precise it was, absolutely precise. I mean, it sprayed right here where he wanted to spray. And so it pretty much killed all these rumors of, this herbicide spraying going onto other lands and happening. Yes, sure, it can happen, if the pilot just chooses to do something stupid, but proper forest management, they don't do it. It was a fascinating field trip, and not paid by the taxpayers. I drove down there myself, my own gas, and the lumber company, the timber company down there, took us on in their vans and took us out into the forest. And it was great. It was a really fun day, but amazingly interesting day. And I think what was most fascinating about it was there was a mixture of Republicans and Democrats that went. There was a mixture of rural folks and a mixture of city folks. And I think both sides learned a little bit more than they probably knew before. So that was why I was gone most of the day today. We left at noon, and I got back about 5:30 or I guess it was, what time is it? Yeah, about 5:30. So I was not here when the big news happened here in the building. The governor has resigned. Apparently, the way I understand it, and where I was, we didn't have cell coverage, so I wasn't receiving texts or tweets or anything. But from what I understand, it will be effective next Wednesday, and Secretary of State Kate Brown will assume the role of governor. You know what? This video series is not to be a commentary. I didn't, and I'm sorry if that disappoints. I don't want it to be a commentary. It's supposed to be my life as your state representative. What is it like to be in this building, to work here? What is, if you were here sitting in the seat, what would you experience? And that's really what I'd rather bring to you. But what I will say about this over the last 3 days, I'm glad that this thing is ending. And again, I'm not going to take a stance on whether he should have gone or shouldn't have gone or any of that. What I'm, as a legislator, being here in this building, it was a horrible distraction. I mean, we're natural curiosity human beings, right? So you have your little smartphone, and you're sitting in a committee meeting, and you're sitting up at the dais, and there are people down there they're giving testimony, and they're passionate, and it's important to them, and they want to tell you about why you should support or not support a bill. Well, human nature over the last 3 days, we thought he could resign at any point, or would something else happen, or who knows what would happen. So naturally, we were doing this. I'm holding my phone. We were doing this, while you're looking at the testifier going, you're looking down, Can't help it. I mean, I tried not to. And I looked around and the other people were doing it too. Everybody, people in the crowd, in the audience were doing it. So it was a distraction. It was a terrible distraction. And that's why I said at the beginning, I can't give you words to describe. I would put it this way. The air was so thick in this building that you literally could cut it with a knife. Just the tension. And I wish I could come up with better ways to describe it, but I can't because I've never experienced it. Nobody has. In Oregon history, right? This has never happened. This is historic. And so I've been saying all day to people that I've talked to, whether you agree with him leaving or you disagree with him leaving, wherever you stand, if you're in this building, as I have been, I will be a part of history. Nobody's going to remember me, Bill Post, as part of it. But what I'm saying is, you think about something important or huge, that was a huge story that happened when you were in that place 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever you want to say. I was here when this happened, and it's a weird feeling. I'll be completely honest with you. It's not a great feeling, but it's an interesting feeling, as I am now a part of history, or I was here when history happened. If I look that way right now, from my office window, I'm looking down, and there are these massive, huge floodlights down there. And it's the news guys that are down there doing their shows from the state capitol. They've been doing that for the last 3 nights, the 4 o'clock, the 5 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, whatever times they do their newses. I mean, that doesn't happen every day. That's weird stuff. So I wasn't here when it happened today, but I've now caught up a little bit on the news, and it's amazing. It's tragic. It's just weird to be in this building. So let's talk about some things that are more fun and more positive. I got to meet a lot of great people again this week. Constituents that came in, people that live in Kaiser, St. Paul, Newburgh, and some from outside. People that are passionate about certain things. Some things I'm never going to agree with them on. I'm never going to raise taxes. I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to vote to increase even more funding for higher education. I'm not going to do it. I don't believe healthcare is a human right. I'm not going to go for that kind of stuff. So you can come in my office, you can tell me all that stuff, and I'll listen to you, but I'm not going for it. I stand on my principles, and I will continue to stand on my principles. And if anybody's concerned that I'm compromising my principles here, or I'm going to be, messed with by the other people, it's not going to happen. I'm me. I don't change. So that part I'm not worried about. But here's some things that I am enjoying. Friendships. There are friendships being formed. Now, there are some people that will watch this that are people who listen to my radio show all those years, and they'll say, well, how dare you? You're making friends with Democrats? Yes, I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. They're people, just like anybody else. And as I get to know them, again, we may be completely on opposite sides politically, but we are forming friendships. And hopefully those friendships will help us start understanding each other a little bit. I won't say who, but I was having breakfast the other morning with a fellow rep who's a Democrat, and he said, I just don't understand where you guys come from. And I looked at him and I said, I don't understand where you guys come from. And we laughed. Well, maybe that conversation will lead us to something someday. Not going to the middle, but rather one of us, hopefully he, comes to my side. Or we at least come to an understanding of we don't agree, but we can work together on something else that's not a political divide. So I think that's fascinating. I'll tell you about a couple of things that happened this week that you learn that you have to learn the hard way. So I'm on a committee. I'm on 2 committees, Judiciary. I'm on Judiciary, and I'm on Rural Communities, Land Use, and Water Committee. So just to give you a little idea, if you don't know how this thing works here. So I'm just going to make up a bill number, House Bill 2000. So don't use that. I'm just using it as an example. So House Bill 2000. So it comes to our committee, and we listen to testimony on it. Sometimes there's no testimony, but let's say we listen to testimony for and against it, and then the chairman or chairperson of the committee then decides by vote with us whether to move it onto the House floor for a vote or whether to carry it over for another day of discussion or whatever. I'll give you the short version. So the other day, I think it was Monday. No, it was last week. Last week we had a bill that that we unanimously, and on this particular committee there are 5 Democrats and 4 Republicans. We unanimously voted to pass this bill on to the floor for a vote. It's a fairly innocuous bill, and I didn't have a problem with it, so I voted yes. So now, fast forward to Wednesday of this week, House floor. Now the whole House is going to vote on this. So I won't say who, but one of the representatives from the other side was the one who carried the bill, meaning he reads his comments, he gives a floor speech on the bill to all of us to encourage us to vote yes on it. I was a yes vote. Remember, I voted it out of committee. This guy started talking, and he started saying things, and as he was talking, I was going like this. I was a yes vote. I put my finger on the no button, and as the countdown clock started counting down and got to 7, I went no. And 4 other Republicans joined me. Now, what was the problem? The problem was, here in this building, there are so many bills and so many committees. Many times your fellow caucus members, your Republicans, look to your vote on the committee for guidance on how they should vote when it comes to the floor. So they saw that I had voted yes, so they were probably thinking, well, like, you know, Post is okay with it, I guess I am, so I'm going to vote yes. I changed my vote on the House floor. It's not a rule break, or it's just a kind of a faux pas. It kind of helps them understand, because, you know, we can't read every single bill. So you kind of trust your fellow caucus members, Republicans, to help you with the bill that maybe they know more about than you do. And so my change in the vote might have encouraged others if I'd have got up and spoke about it. But I was so angry at what he was saying, I just voted no. I didn't get in trouble, but I apologized. Second thing I learned is in that same committee, the chair can, if a bill does not come directly from a state rep or state senator, maybe it comes from the governor's office or the Secretary of State's office or the treasurer's office or something like that, it then needs somebody to carry it to the floor. So this particular bill, it's HB 2335. We passed it out of committee unanimously, and our chairman, Chairman Jeff Barker, I thought he was looking at me, and he said, "Do you want to carry the bill?" And I said, "Me?" And he said, "Uh-huh." Well, it turns out he was looking at Andy Olson, who sits next to me. And so somebody in my committee said, "I think Representative Post wants to carry that bill." And I said, okay. So I carried the bill today on the House floor, Friday vote. And so again, so you understand, carry the bill. It wasn't my bill. It wasn't a bill I crafted or created. I simply carried a bill from my committee to the floor. So I gave my first official floor speech today in support of this bill, and it passed unanimously. So I'm kind of proud of the fact that my first vote, or my first bill, passed unanimously. You remember I said that I wasn't planning on doing any bills myself. I do have one bill, and we released a press release this week about it. And it is a bill, I'll be frank with you, it is a bill to help out a good friend, and that is, if you're a regular listener to my show, you remember Sadi Hadid at Ava Cigars and Wine. As part of that whole no smoking thing that we finally got his shop exempted several years ago, so that you could have a cigar at his shop, one of the problems was in that final legislation it said no food or drink. Well, no food or drink means no food or drink. That means you can't bring a coffee in or a bottle of water, and the employees can't eat or drink. So I did create a bill that would allow non-alcoholic food or drink on the premises. I had, I believe, 41 signatures as co-sponsors, which is really good. When you can get that many people to co-sponsor, that means you're probably going to have a good chance, I hope. I had 41 co-sponsors, a mixture of Republicans and Democrats, who all saw that this is a no-brainer. you should be able to have food or drink at a cigar shop. So I finally dropped that bill, meaning I gave it to the clerk and it officially became a bill, and it is House Bill 2969. And it has not been assigned to a committee yet. It is still in the Speaker's office. I'm sure it'll be assigned probably next week. It'll get its first reading, second reading, et cetera, if it passes from whatever committee it's in. So if you think about my friend Sadi, and if you're a supporter of Ava Cigars, being my sponsor for all those years, this would really help his business. But it would also help the other cigar shops that were exempted back in, I think it was 2012. Anyway, I didn't want to go that long tonight. I'm bushed. I'm exhausted. I really am mentally exhausted. This has been quite a toll this week, quite the news. I know there were other things I wanted to tell you about, but I'm going to let you go because my wife says these are going too long, and I always do what she says. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this every week. I really appreciate it, and we will talk again next week. My life is your state representative here in the Oregon State Capitol, so have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk next week.